Hello, welcome to today's video. Coach Rodrigo here, and today I'm very excited because I'm gonna take you through a barefoot break. A barefoot break from the comeback level 1. So it's part of the program that I use with my clients, but this one is a short version that we have to complement the main sessions for in between days or when we're traveling or when life gets busy, but I want to share it with you today. We don't need any equipment. I'm going to keep it to about 15 minutes. So we're going to start. So if you're ready, you don't need any equipment. Come with me on the floor. We're going to start facing down and we're going to do some diaphragmatic breathing. So we start laying down. We're going to use our nose to inhale. We're going to try to bring the air first into the pelvic floor, midsection, but all around, and then into the rib cage. See if you can keep that shape of the breath. Let's do one or two more. And this is the breath that I would like you to practice as we go through these movements. Now we're going to bring the hands by the side of the body. We're going to press, and we're going to set up what I call the base, so hands and knees. We're going to look forward, and we're going to start easy rocking. You can try to place the tongue on the roof of the mouth. This is a very simple, small movement. A little bit of rocking. So we're going to go through a little preparation, and then I'm going to take you through 4 simple, friendly movements. So here, rocking, and then we're going to continue like this, but we're going to go around, okay? Super easy, always start slow, paying attention to the body, switch the direction of those circles, still going forward and back. And then we're going to move the spine. We're going to push, we're going to round, try to round the whole spine for a moment, and then extend. Don't force, doesn't need to be big, just make sure that we're bringing movement to all of the spine, and then we're going to kneel for a moment. If it's doable. If not, we can always place something in between, or we can come to the tall kneeling and then kneel, okay? See if you can find the breath, and we're gonna do some circles with the wrist. In one direction, and then switch opposite directions. Let's do a few figure eights. Okay, we're preparing the wrist, because we may put a little bit of weight on them, but very easy, simple. This is level 1. We're gonna shake them side to side, up and down. We're gonna lift the hips, and we're gonna try to bring or tuck the toes under, and maybe we add a little bit of weight, and then we come back, and we kneel again. Notice all these can be used also as an assessment to see how things are going. You can let me know in the comments which movements are easy. Of course, if there's any one that is painful, you're just gonna skip. That's part of the assessment, okay? So now we're gonna start with the first movement that I want us to practice today. We're gonna start facing up on the floor. We're gonna bring the feet in contact with the floor. We're gonna try to have the back of the head in contact with the floor, the upper back, and then we're going to practice moving at the pelvis. So I'm rolling the pelvis, so I create a lot of space in my lumbar spine, the low back. Then I'm going to use my core to bring it in. This may be challenging. All of this simple stuff may be a little bit challenging, but that's part of the training. And then we're going to try to find neutral, which is a tiny bit of space there. Now here we're going to practice one breath. We're going to inhale. The same way, expand pelvic floor, midsection, rib cage. With the exhale, let's try one through mouth, but slowly through mouth. So we start feeling more core engagement. I like to call that the corset. So you're gonna keep some of that tension as you exhale, and then you're gonna inhale, but don't lose it. Don't just breathe through your belly. Keep some of that tension, and then we're gonna time with the next exhale, we're gonna lift with our core, the legs up here. And for now, I just want you to notice if you were able to keep the pelvis in that neutral position, if you are not changing the point of contact of the body and the floor. And we're just gonna hold here, okay? Holding the position, relax the neck, and breathe. In and out through nose, notice how the midsection feels, if your core is on, if your quads tend to turn on a lot, okay? And then slowly you're gonna bring them down. So that's gonna be our first movement, and I want you just to be mindful of what happens when you are in that position. This is the first step in start training, retraining our core. For the next one, earlier we did the base. Now we're gonna go back to this base. So hands and knees, I'm gonna go hands, shoulder width, and the knees are gonna be about hip width. So a little bit closer to each other, and then about a forearm away from the hands, okay? So we're gonna find this position, and then we're gonna move the spine again. We're gonna try to find a neutral spine position. So neutral spine has a little bit of curve on the upper back, and maybe a little bit of arch in the lumbar, little, okay? Make sure that the head is not falling forward. You're gonna bring the chin in. You're reaching long from the top of the head. Shoulders are toward the hips. Now from this position, we're gonna practice retracting or bringing the shoulder blades close to each other, close to the spine, and then I'm gonna push and I'm gonna glide them away. And you can practice these shoulder blades push-ups. Don't be surprised if any of this is a little bit challenging. I see it all the time. Now you're gonna push and you're gonna keep the shoulder blades in that more protracted position. So they are rounded, that are away from the midline. And you're pushing, you're not bending the elbows. Then we're gonna try keeping the head there, the upper back there. We're gonna try to isolate the movement of the pelvis like we did earlier. I'm gonna use my back to bring the butt out, and then I'm gonna use my core muscles to bring it in. And you're gonna see how far you can go, and we're separating, right, the lumbar spine from the thoracic spine. And then we're gonna find a little more neutral position. And the only thing that we're gonna do here now is keeping that shape and pushing. It's an active position. I'm gonna run a couple breaths. So this is a very simple position to start restoring our posture. Breathing, feeling the core muscles, waking them up. Okay, I'm gonna move, but you stay there for 1 or 2 more breaths. So I want you to keep pushing, keep the shape. Inhale, expand, see if you can access pelvic floor first. Think of a cylinder, then midsection all around, rib cage. On the exhale, just exhale, and you're gonna notice how everything in your core comes to the center. Get familiar with those muscles, and then in the next inhale, don't just throw all that away. Keep some of that tension. Inhale, you may notice that now the air is gonna be going to other places, and then rest. So that's the second movement. We're gonna go to standing now, and we're gonna review. Of course, in the program, we spend more time with all of this, and of course you have my support, and I'm able to see you moving too. We're gonna try to find our active standing position. So for this one, I'm gonna go hip width, toes pointing forward with a little angle. We're gonna lift the toes. We're gonna try to find the tripod of the feet, splay the toes, and then down. Then we're gonna work on finding the neutral position of the hips. Many times we see this kind of a standing, so make sure that the hips are on top of the ankles, not in front. Lock out the knees just to notice where lock out knees are, but then you just gonna soften them a little. Don't bend, just straight but soft. Now we're gonna practice one more time, butt out, using my core. I'm gonna bring the pelvis more in. And I'm gonna practice this motion, and then I'm gonna try to find neutral. Now remember, we're looking for neutral spine. So we just practice a little bit of curve on the upper back. The chin is in, I'm looking to the horizon. The shoulder blades are nicely sitting on the rib cage. The arms are by the side and you're not shifting forward. So if I look down, I should be able to see my feet. Okay, and now here in this active standing, so I practice this and it may feel very weird. That's completely okay. You can look at yourself in the mirror later and practice. I want you to maybe close your eyes and we're gonna do 2-3 breaths. We're gonna inhale, expand. The pelvic floor, midsection, rib cage expansion. When you exhale, notice how everything comes in. Notice more of that core. And then inhale, expand. Practice maybe 1 or 2 more breaths like that. Active standing position. Okay, we're gonna start restoring all those muscles that help us set the structure. Now take a moment and we're gonna move into the final movement, that is the hip hinge, okay? So from that active standing, the goal here is to keep all the same. So think of the rib cage on top of the pelvis, chin is in, and then I'm gonna move from my hips, not from my spine. I'm gonna try to reach back with the butt, kind of in this position. I don't need to go any lower than this. I'm gonna allow the knees to travel forward slightly, okay? Strong or heavy on my feet all around. My core should be on, and you can play here because sometimes this is what happens, right? We go there or we end up being here. So try to keep that, and you can play here. You can play here with 1 breath, inhale, expand. The exhale, if you do it slowly, that helps us set up more of rib cage on top of pelvis. And then you're gonna traction back. You're gonna try to pull the floor back, keeping your core engaged, and then you're gonna come to stand. You're gonna feel a lot of core work and the back of the hips working. Let's go ahead and do 1 more. So hinge, find it here, breath. Notice sometimes I see people shifting too much back, so allow the knees to travel forward. I always say I want you to feel really strong in this position, that you are able to push something or resist being pushed. Traction back and up. Let's go back to the floor. That is it for our break. We're gonna do a little bit of rocking here again. So release tension. So that's how we start practicing some key movements, start restoring our structural alignment, start reactivating some muscles, very important, and then we start building stability and then good movement or efficient movement from there. We can finish in the kneeling or we can cross our legs, and let's finish with a few diaphragmatic breaths. In and out through nose. Expand, exhale, release. Stay here until you feel like your body is a little more relaxed, the heart rate slows down. Open your eyes, and that is it. That is a barefoot break from the comeback level 1. Let me know, use it as an assessment, how it feels, if you have any questions, if you feel any pain, if some of the things you don't understand, if you are doing it right. Feel free to comment. Also, I'm gonna leave the link for my community if you're gonna join. Sometimes I do have a 7-day free trial. You can join, you can start playing around inside the community. And that is it for today. Thank you. Have a great day, and I see you on the next video.